What's up guys, my name is Garrett. On this episode of Pistonhead Garage, I'm going to give you an update on the Skyline and we're going to do some upgrades to the fuel system. Welcome back to another episode of Pistonhead Garage, and today the Skyline's back and I'm back. I haven't been around very much because I've been working a lot. Winter for me is pretty busy, so I haven't really had much time to pay attention to the car, but I have got some stuff done and I'm going to be doing some more stuff. So stick around because we're going to be upgrading the fuel pumps and putting in a new fuel top pad to stop some leakage I've been having. So anyway, so where we're at so far, what you probably haven't seen is I had the car dynoed at national speed in Wilmington, North Carolina. I'll put some footage in here hopefully of that event. It was pretty awesome. The car made 599 horsepower, which kind of sucks, but at the same time, it's justifiable due to the issues we had. Unfortunately, the car right now won't rev past about 6,000 RPM. It starts to lose its cam and crank signal sync, so it thinks that the cam or the crank is out of whack from where it should be, and it basically creates an artificial limiter to the car, so the car can't rev any higher and cause damage. So we aren't 100% sure what's causing that. The sensors are both brand new and we replaced them as well when we were there with other known good units, and same problem. And all the settings, of course, in the ECU have been messed around with and it hasn't really fixed it, but we haven't lost hope yet. There's a couple things I got left to try. One of them is, you might be able to see in the corner, I put new coils on the car. The LQ9 coils that are on there are GM truck coils, and they're a pretty popular aftermarket option because they're way cheaper than the OEM coils, and they produce a pretty good spark. The downside is that you can't really buy them new and expect quality. Apparently, from what I've been reading, the newer ones degrade faster and they arc out faster, so you have to pretty much buy used ones. But the thing is, with used ones, now you're getting used coils. Who knows what's been going on with those, so I'm worried that maybe they're arcing out or something in the logic isn't working properly and it's backfeeding or whatever. But we figured we should eliminate that as a problem, and I went with brand new AEM smart coils. They're a much higher output coil, so they can support more power, because one of the limiting factors I actually had when I was tuning was the spark was getting blown out. We had to gap the spark plugs down quite a bit, so that was a problem. So with this, I should be able to open those gaps back up, so I'm going to put new plugs in it as well. We're going to replace the sensor, the crank sensor again. And the other thing I'm doing is having my wiring harness gone over and rebuilt. It has to get modified for the new coils. The new connectors are a 5-pin versus the LQ9 4-pin. But at the same time, I figured let's just give it a once over and make sure that there's nothing wrong with the grounds or the shielding or whatever, so that way hopefully the wiring harness isn't the problem. Lastly, if none of that fixes anything, the new harness, the new coils, and the new sensors, the only other thing that could really be wrong is the ECU itself. Worst comes to worst, I have access to a known good ECU. I believe this person told me they will send me their unit to try out. Hopefully it is a known good, but he says it works. So if I have to, we'll plug that in, drop my tune on it, and see what happens. And if it fixes the problem after everything else doesn't, then obviously we know the ECU was the problem all along. And I'm going to shell out $2,000 for the ECU, but hopefully it doesn't come to that. But if it does, I mean, you know, that's just the way it works. Sometimes things fail, and unfortunately the warranty on this is only a year, and it's been 2.5 years since I built the car, so it is what it is, I guess. Anyway, so that's pretty much where we're at right now. The car does run, it just doesn't make as much power as it could. I've been told that if it will rev all the way out to 8,500, that I should be able to break the 600 horsepower mark or get close to it. So with the help of a little water meth and some more tuning, hopefully it should break the 700 horsepower mark, but we'll see. I mean, that's down the road, and you will get videos of that, of course. But for today, the first thing we're going to focus on in kind of the few tweaks that I want to do before the season begins is the fuel system. So what I have done previously, I didn't make a video of this, but I installed a second pump in my tank, as well as I ran all new fuel lines, and they're aluminum hard lines. They're 1/2 inch diameter, I believe, so they're way overkill for what I'm making for power, or what I'm going to make for power, but now I have that room to grow. And I did a new fuel filter, Deutschwerks, or Deutschwerks, whatever you want to call it, stainless steel filter, so it's E85 rated and all that sort of crap. I'm not running E85, but at least if I ever did decide to go that route, I have some components that are up to date. I changed up my catch can for a Vibrant Performance one because it had a bigger volume and it had 2 outlets, whereas the Mishimoto one only had 1 inlet. And as much as I like that catch can, it looks nice and it was easy to install. It just doesn't have the options that I wanted. Of course, now they've come out with one that does, but I've already got the Vibrant one in there, so it's going to stay. But anyway, so the fuel system was done up, but when I did the bulkhead fittings that go through the top hat, I just drilled holes in the factory top hat, and they have Teflon washers, bolted her down, and all was well, except for the fact that the reinforcement ribbing on the inside of this hat, which I can show you once it's out, I had to cut it down in order to get the washers to fit, and I just couldn't get it perfectly flat, so it's just not sealing. And the whole car smells like gasoline, which really sucks. And it's, of course, you know, a hazard. So this Powerhouse Racing kit that I bought, which I will show you in a minute, will take care of that hopefully and give me a nice professional connection for the fuel lines and the vents and all that sort of stuff, and I hopefully won't have the smell of gas in the car all the time. So let's go over to the workbench and I'll show you what the kit includes. So here's what comes with the whole kit. We've got the top hat itself, which I'll get into in a minute. We've got the bracket that holds everything in the tank, the bracket that holds the pumps, and this rod here connects the 2 of these. It comes with these one-time use clamps, which I'm not going to use. I'm just going to use your standard, you know, worm clamps, hose clamps, because I want to be able to remove them in case I need to change out pumps or whatever. It also came with a couple of butt connectors, which it's funny because I need more than 2 of them, but I won't worry about that. It also comes with the connectors. Actually, there's 2 of them here. The pump connectors themselves. These come with the terminals that you crimp onto the wires, probably the ones that come out of here. And they obviously plug into the pumps. Then they're set up for these pumps specifically. And then we move on to the pumps. I didn't actually order these. I ordered the kit without pumps, and they sent me these by mistake, I guess. So I'm gonna keep them because if you look at them, they say TI Automotive, but there's a part number here, this F9 quadruple 0274, which if you look this up on Google, it's basically the equivalent to a Walbro 450. So these are both Walbro 450s or equivalents, which obviously is better than my AEM 320s that are in there right now. So although I don't really need them, I mean, why not put them in there, right? They're brand new and they came for free, so might as well use them. They also included some Teflon tubing to run between the pumps and the hat. The thing is, I'm not really sure about this. I mean, Teflon is definitely known to be strong, and of course it's E85 compatible. It's very resistant to chemicals and stuff, but it just seems a little thin to me, and I had an issue previously with the hose in the tank blowing out from the pressure, and the hose that's in there right now says right on it it's rated for 250 psi, so I'm probably just going to keep using that just because I know it works. And then of course it comes with the pre-filter socks for the pumps, so make sure you don't get any dirt or grime in there. And that's pretty much it. So let's take a look at the hat, and then we'll go on from there. Okay, so here's the top hat by itself. There's really not that much to it. It's really just a nicer looking version of what's in the car to begin with obviously with a bit more options for pumps and so on. So on either side here we have these screw-on bulkhead connectors. This side here is for your fuel sending unit, your level sender, and then this side of course is for the pumps. This is pre-wired for up to 3 pumps. You can see here's the inside of the tank side and the outside, they match up. Obviously I'm only doing 2 pumps, so I won't need all 3 of these. I'll just eliminate one of them. And then you got your ground for the pumps on the inside, and then your ground, chassis ground on the outside, which just bolts to the hat and then bolts to the car somewhere. And then you've got your outlets and return port. So I've got a single -8 outlet. You could do 2 -8s or pretty much whatever you want here. Powerhouse will kind of customize it for you. But I'm just using the one to match what I have currently, and then a -6 return, and then you have your vent here, which is like on a little banjo fitting, so you can swivel around as needed. On the back side, all your wiring comes through one little hole here, and then you've got your pump inlets. which these are not check valves. So the check valves that I have in the tank currently, I'm going to keep using because right now if one pump were to run and the other one weren't, it could backfeed out, so that wouldn't be very good. So I'll keep those installed, and then there's a third one blocked off for if I wanted to run a third pump. So this is set up for up to 3 pumps if I really wanted to, which is kind of cool. And you've got your return outlet here. It's got a little barb on it, but I'm pretty sure that from factory it just shoots right into the tank from what I remember. And then it's got this jet pump doodad here. I'm not exactly sure how it works, but it's supposed to help get the fuel from one side of the tank to the other side of the tank. The tank in my car is saddle shaped. It fits kind of over the drive shaft, so fuel can settle in one side, and this is designed to keep it moving over to the other side where the pumps are. And that's pretty much all there is to it. It's nice billet aluminum. It's got the Powerhouse Racing logo screenshot or silk screened on there, and it's black, which I love as well. So let's go look at the tank and I'll show you how we install it. Okay, so after putting together all the footage from this video, I realized that it's almost an hour long, so I'm going to cut you off right now, and we're going to split this up into 3 parts. So when we come back, we'll continue on with the fuel pump install, and in part 3 will be kind of the finalization of the wiring and the finished product. So make sure you're subscribed, make sure that you give this video a like, don't miss the next 2 parts. I'm Garrett, and I'll see you next time on Pistonhead Garage.